Today we're going to be taking a look at 75373 Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack. This set just released on June 1st with 109 pieces and a retail price of $20 US. Now mind you, it did release on June 1st, however it is only available directly through LEGO, so that means on lego.com or through an official LEGO store. It's not going to be until August 1st when it's going to hit your local retail stores like Walmart and Target. Anyways, as you might know, this set does include those long-awaited Super Commandos, which I am super excited to take a look at. And digging into the box on the inside, you're going to find 3 bags along with 3 loose plates and your instruction manual. And right inside the instruction manual, you're going to find some 25th anniversary art and then jump straight into your building process. And then in the back, you're going to have some advertising for the rest of the June sets. And then just one page over, you're going to see that this set can actually pair and connect with the Mandalorian bunker set, which I will show towards the end of the video. Taking a look at the figures, first up here we have the 2 Night Owl Mandalorians, and very unsurprisingly, they look really good. Over the past few years, LEGO has absolutely nailed down their Mandalorian designs. Every new Mandalorian figure that's come out recently has just been top notch. LEGO has really nailed it down. And if you're wondering, yes, there is back printing underneath their jetpacks, and also underneath their helmets there's just a plain black head since these are unnamed characters. But still, both these figures look really good. LEGO has just absolutely nailed down their Mandalorian designs. And then next up here we have the Imperial Super Commandos, and I have to say their helmets look a bit off. It might just be me, I'm not entirely sure, but I think the mouth area looks a bit too wide, and also I think the black line going from the mouth to the eyes is a bit too thick, and it just makes the front helmet print look a bit cartoonish and sloppy kind of, which is honestly kind of disappointing because in The Mandalorian these guys' helmets looked so cool and LEGO just did not capture that in the best way here. However, on the bright side, the rest of the figure, especially the torso and arm printing, looks incredible, and they also have these really cool jetpacks with a printed piece, and yes, they also have back printing underneath the jetpacks. And if you're wondering, they too just both have plain black heads, but that aside, I think their helmets are just a bit off and not as good as they could have been, which I find to be honestly kind of disappointing. Anyways, taking a look at the build, this is actually a rare case where a battle pack build is not a vehicle, which I do appreciate, but at the same time, there's just not much going on here, especially on this left side where there's just a big exposed plate. I think it could have used a few more pieces right there to just cover that up a little bit. And there's also not much going on in the back. There's just a little bit more rock work and a little clip to hold a rifle. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal because after all, it is a battle pack. It's more about the figures than it is the build. In terms of play features, there are these 2 little side builds. One's a little crate that you can open up when there's a little grenade inside. And then you have this simple little stud shooter gun right here that I guess you can take one of your Mandalorians and sit behind it, and you can push the lever down to fire it and get it lost across the room per usual. But perhaps the main and definitely the best play feature on this set is this little lever right here with a transparent piece. And basically what you can do is take one of your Super Commandos and attach him to the back of it right here, and then you can use the lever to move him around and actually make it look like he's flying with his jetpack. And I think this is really awesome. You can set up a pretty cool little battle with the Super Commandos and the Mandalorians, and it's actually a battle pack that has some sort of display value to it, which is really rare, but I also really like. Now, like I mentioned earlier, in the back of the instructions, it did show that it can pair with the Mandalorian bunker set. They can attach to each other on both sides. The first side looks like this. It's kind of just all in one line, and then the second side actually makes it form sort of a corner, which I think looks a lot better personally. And then you can set up all your figures from both sets, and I'm not gonna lie, this looks really awesome. Combined, these sets are $60, and I know that I dogged on the bunker a lot for being $40, which I think is overpriced, but when you put them together, this actually does feel like it's worth $60, and I think it just again looks really awesome. Although I am still stating on business, I think it's absolutely pathetic that the bunker did not include the 3rd Praetorian Guard, but the fact that these sets just look so cool together kind of makes up for that. And honestly, if you want to set up a really cool battle like this, I would recommend both of these sets so you could do this. It makes for a great display piece. But anyways, that aside, back to just the battle pack itself, I think it's pretty solid. Again, my only and main complaint is just with the Super Commando helmets. They just don't look very good to me, or I guess they're just kind of underwhelming, or my expectations were too high for them. I just don't think they look as good as they could, and they're not very accurate. Again, the Mandalorians look great, per usual. The LEGO Mandalorians always look good, but it's just those Super Commandos that I'm having a problem with, so I'm gonna give it a 9.2 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now. Today we're going to be taking a look at 75386 Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon battle. This set will be releasing on June 1st with 289 pieces and a pretty hefty price tag of $40 US. And as you guys know, this set includes the long-awaited Moff Gideon with his Mandalorian helmet and an updated version of Paz Vizsla, and 2 new Praetorian guards, although there's a pretty big problem with those that I will get to in a minute. Anyways, opening up the box and digging in, on the inside you're going to find only 3 numbered bags, as well as your instruction manual and a pretty small sticker sheet with only 5 stickers. Taking a look at the instructions, on the front you're just going to have a reprint of the box art, and then right inside you're going to have some art for the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars, then jump straight into your building process. And then in the back you're going to see how this set can actually pair and connect with the new Mandalorian and Super Commando battle pack that's coming out on June 1st as well. And then you're going to see some advertising for the rest of the June sets. Taking a look at the figures, first up here we had the 2 Praetorian guards, and I have to say LEGO did a very good job on them. They look really nice. At first glance, I thought their helmets were a bit too long, but then I looked at the source material from The Mandalorian Season 3, and they actually look pretty accurate. I just think these guys look really cool, and LEGO did a good job. However, there's a big problem with them that I really don't like, and that's that there's only 2, when very clearly in the scene that this set is based off of, there are 3 of them, and the 3rd LEGO one does exist. However, it's coming in the advent calendar on September 1st, which is going to retail for $45. So basically, if you want the 3rd Praetorian Guard to fully complete the scene, you're gonna have to wait until September 1st and pay $45 for it, which I think is just absolutely pathetic that LEGO did not just include him in this set, especially considering the fact that it's already $40, which is pretty pricey. But other than that, like I said, the actual 2 Praetorian Guards included do look pretty nice. And then next up here we have the updated Paz Vizsla, and he looks absolutely incredible. He's got all the necessary detailing and printing. There's even back printing underneath his jetpack and shoulder piece, and printing at the top of his torso underneath his shoulder piece as well. And speaking of his shoulder piece, on the left side there is a printed Mandalorian symbol, which looks really awesome, and he also includes his M55 repeating blaster, and it just looks so awesome. I could go on and on about this figure. LEGO just did a very good job with him. And then the cool figures continue with the long-awaited Moff Gideon with his Mandalorian helmet, and just like Paz Vizsla, LEGO just did a very good job on this figure. There's just incredible detailing on the front and the back, and there's even printing underneath his jetpack as well, and he also even comes with a hairpiece that you can put on when you take his helmet off, as well as a double-sided face, with the second face kind of looking like he's constipated. Anyways, the 4 figures that we got in this set are absolutely incredible. LEGO just did a very good job on them. However, I just really cannot get past the fact that it's missing the 3rd Praetorian Guard for no apparent reason other than LEGO just wants more money with the advent calendar. Now taking a look at the actual build itself, I have to say it looks really good, but it does not feel like it's worth $40 at all. Anyways, diving in, on the left side you're going to have a nice tan rock piece, as well as a little printed control panel, and then at the top you're going to have these 2 very long stickers that were kind of frustrating to put on, but in the end result they do add some pretty nice detailing up here. And then on the right side you're going to have some more rock work and some minor detailing with a transparent piece. And you might have noticed there is this little box right here that you can take off and open up to find some grenades inside. On the inside, right in front of the door, there are some stickers on these slope pieces, and honestly I don't think they're very necessary, and the actual gray of the sticker is off color from the gray of the brick like usual. However, I do appreciate that they add some type of detail down here, and the discoloration isn't very noticeable since they're pretty hidden. And now speaking of the door itself, I think the design of it is really good and pretty accurate, and it's got this little knob on the top that you can actually grab and use to lift up the door. And then on the back here there is this little Technic lever that you can push down, and it actually drops the door down like seen in the show. And if you're wondering how it works, when you lift the door up it just rests on this little ball joint, and then when you push the piece down, the ball joint lifts up and it makes the door drop down. And this feature is pretty simple, but I think it's pretty dang cool and a really fun way to recreate the scene that this set is based off of. On the back left side here you're going to have this little hidden area that actually has a stickered control panel of Moff Gideon's Imperial Light Cruiser, and if you want, I guess you can grab Moff Gideon and place him back here. On the top, besides the main gun, there's not much going on up here, and quite frankly I wish they could have added a few more tiles, but that's just me. I don't think it's a big deal. However, speaking of the gun, it can turn all the way around 360 degrees, and if you want you can grab Moff Gideon or one of the Praetorian guards and place them up here behind it. And I have to say, Moff Gideon up here does look pretty dang cool. And also, as you might have noticed, there are 2 stud shooters up here that you can fire as you please. The whole gun itself can actually easily detach from the main build and reveal this little storage area to hold all of these studs for the stud shooter, and if you want, it's a good place to hold Moff Gideon's hairpiece as well. Now for the most part, I think all of the figures and the build and the scene you can partially recreate with this set are all pretty dang good. Sitting past Vizsla in front of the door with his massive blaster just looks absolutely awesome, and again, the build, even though it's not worth $40 at all, is pretty good. It honestly surprised me. It's actually a pretty decent display piece, and again, the figures are just incredible. However, I just cannot get over the fact they left out a Praetorian Guard and are charging $40 for this set. I think at most what we're getting here should be no more than $35, preferably $30, but the fact that they're leaving out the third guard and charging $40 for this for no reason than the fact that they just want more money is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't like that at all. So would I recommend this set to you for $40? No, not really, unless you just really want Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon. And I know that accounts for basically everybody. I think almost everyone is very interested in these two figures, but if you're not interested in these two figures, I honestly would not buy this set unless you can find it for at least $35 or less. LEGO really made a good set here, but they just completely dropped the ball when they left out the third Praetorian Guard and made the retail price $40. So because of that, I'm taking off 2 points and feeling an 8 out of 10 because the rest of the set is very good. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now. Today we're going to be taking a look at the LEGO Star Wars June set that no one really cares about, being 75390 Luke Skywalker X-Wing Mech. This set just released on June 1st with 195 pieces and a retail price of $16 US. There's not much to look at on the box, although I do have to say I really like the back. I think it's cool that they put it on Dagobah. It's kind of random, but I just think it looks cool. Anyways, actually opening up and digging into the box, on the inside you're going to find 4 numbered bags, as well as your instruction manual. Now taking a look at the only minifigure in this set, being Luke Skywalker, which is surprisingly not the same Luke Skywalker that's in the $240 UCS X-Wing, despite what some of the rumors said, which I again find to be kind of surprising, but I also find to be pretty annoying, especially considering, you know, this. Anyways, that aside, the Luke Skywalker minifigure does look pretty good. It's up to standards with today's quality of LEGO Star Wars minifigures. He's got nice back printing, as well as a double-sided face and a little blaster and his lightsaber, of course. Anyways, taking a look at the actual mech itself, I think it looks pretty cool. It also kind of looks like Optimus Prime's Jetwing, which I can't really get out of my head, but that aside, it's still a pretty cool build. As you'd expect, you can easily sit Luke Skywalker on the inside and then fold up the little chest piece that also has a printed Rebellion logo on it. And then on the hip here, there's going to be a little place to hold his blaster, and on the very back, there is going to be another place to hold his lightsaber. Now, speaking of the back, I think this area looks pretty good for the most part. I like how there's sort of some transparent studs to make it look like there's some engines back here, and the wings look pretty cool too. However, one problem I have with the wings is that they're actually on ball joints instead of hinges, and the problem with this is that they're pretty tedious to line up, and they're also pretty easy to just knock and kind of misalign, which after a while I just found kind of frustrating because I was always having to realign them after I handled the build, and I just think they would have worked a lot better on hinges instead of ball joints. Anyways, though, on the bright side, the legs look surprisingly really detailed. I was honestly kind of shocked when I built them, and as you'd expect, there is a ball joint at the hip and on the feet, so you can move them around and pose them however you want. The arms look pretty solid too. On the right one, you're going to have his lightsaber, which you can see here, and it's also got 3 fingers that you can move around and kind of wrap around the lightsaber and make it look like the mech is actually holding it. And you can kind of do the same thing on his left hand where he's holding his giant blaster. And speaking of the blaster, I mean, it looks decent. I really didn't have any type of high expectations for this, so I'm not complaining that much, although I do think it could be a bit longer. Anyways, overall, this mech is pretty cool, just like the rest of the mechs. It's a unique little display piece that you can sit on like your desk or your nightstand or something, although again, I find it very frustrating how his wings are on ball joints instead of hinges. I just don't like how it's so tedious to handle and how you always have to realign them. So because of that, I'm just going to take 1 point off and give it a 9 out of 10 because I really like how the rest of it looks. And honestly, would I recommend this to you for $16? And well, if you like mechs, I would say yes. And if you don't have any of the mechs yet and want to get into them, I would recommend this one because out of the ones they've made, I think it's the best. I mean, I think they all look great. I just feel like this Luke Skywalker X-Wing one is a bit cooler than the rest. So let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, as always, you can see them on the screen right now. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most talked about sets this year, being 75391 Captain Rex Y-Wing Microfighter. This set just released on June 1st with 99 pieces and a retail price of $13 US. And of course, it's one of the most talked about sets this year because of that Captain Rex minifigure, which has caused a lot of controversy that we will dive into. Now, mind you, this set did release on June 1st, but up until August 1st, it is only available directly through LEGO. So on LEGO.com or through official LEGO stores. It's not going to be until August when you're going going to see it in your Walmarts and Targets. Anyways, digging into the box, on the inside you're going to find 2 numbered bags, an accessory bag, and a little cardboard box that is holding Captain Rex's comma. And then your instruction manual, of course, but all that out of the way, what we want to see in this set is the Captain Rex minifigure. Now, as many of you know, this is the exact same Captain Rex minifigure that is included in the $650 UCS Venator. And because it's the exact same Captain Rex, it has the exact same problems. The main problem, to me at least, is just how big his shoulder pauldron is. I think it doesn't look very good. I mean, honestly, I haven't looked at the one that I got in the Venator in quite a while, and then when I built this one, I was reminded how big his pauldron is, and I was like, dang, this really doesn't look that good. But anyways, aside from the pauldron, I think the rest of the figure is fine. I don't mind his ammo pouch, and I also don't even really mind his printed waist cape. Obviously, a physical one would be leagues better, but I honestly don't really mind the printed one in this case. I can't really pinpoint why. And then, of course, his arm printing looks phenomenal. Now, that was just a pretty quick rundown of the details of this figure and my initial thoughts. If you want to see a more in-depth dive into the actual printing and details of this figure, you should probably just go ahead and watch my Venator review. But what I need to do right now is discuss the massive elephant in the room regarding this figure, and that's that it's the exact same one that's in the $650 UCS Venator that LEGO claimed was going to be exclusive to that set. And I know I usually make a lot of people pretty mad with my opinion on this, so if you don't want to watch it, just skip past this part of the video, I guess. But what I'm going to do is go over 3 mistakes that I think LEGO has made with Phase 2 Captain Rex in general, even since 2013. Mistake number 1, putting the first Phase 2 Captain Rex in 10 years in a $650 set. This Captain Rex right here from the Bark Speeder in 2013 should have appeared in more sets than just that one. 2014 was a year that we saw a bunch of incredible super niche clone troopers, which would have worked very, very well for LEGO to just throw that figure into another set the next year in 2014, but they didn't. And then from 2014 to 2019, I think this figure should have appeared in a few more sets, at least 3. I'm not going to go in depth of what I think those sets should have been. I'm just saying I think this figure should have been made multiple times throughout the decade. And then I definitely think they should have made him in 2020 when Season 7 of the Clone Wars came out. That was the perfect opportunity to either just use this original one or just make a new Phase 2 Captain Rex, but they didn't for literally no apparent reason. And then the years go by and we still haven't gotten any Rex in general, despite how popular his character is, until 2023 when he appeared in a $650 set. Mistake number 2, claiming he was exclusive. They already messed up by putting the first Captain Rex in 10 years in a $650 set, and then they just doubled down and made it worse by claiming that this figure was going to be exclusive, which was most likely just to drive sales for the Venator. I actually think M&R Productions put it very, very well in his review. I think they did it just to drive sales, and yes, I too have sympathy for everyone that got fooled into thinking this figure was going to be exclusive to that set, investor or not. Now, I don't think anyone in their right mind bought this set just for Captain Rex. That's ridiculous, especially considering how good the build is, but I do think a lot of people got fooled into thinking they were going to get an extra exclusive perk with this set, and again, I have sympathy for them. And then the third and final mistake from LEGO, in my opinion, is ignoring how popular of a character Rex is and not giving him the Boba Fett treatment. And I say the Boba Fett treatment because, as you guys know, we have gotten countless Boba Fetts in the past 10 years. Some are dirt cheap and others are super rare. Everybody is happy and Boba Fetts are easily accessible. And I think the exact same thing should have been done with Captain Rex just because he's such a popular character. I think there should be multiple versions, some that are exclusive to expensive sets and some that are just widely available in smaller sets like this Microfighter. And then, in my opinion, what would have been the best solution for the situation they put themselves in back in October would be to simply just remove the band-aid that is on Rex's head, so the one in the Venator would have technically stayed exclusive. This would have been the best solution to make everyone happy because that would have held its value, and then of course everyone that didn't want to buy the Venator would have been able to easily get Rex with this Microfighter. But obviously they did not do that, and that's what unfortunately led to this continuous conversation that we are still having today. And I honestly plan on never talking about this again after this video. I'm just tired of discussing it. Anyways, don't forget there's also a Y-Wing in this set too, which I quite frankly think looks kind of ugly. I feel like the proportions are just a bit off. I think the engine should maybe be 1 brick longer, but I mean, it is a Microfighter after all. I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I just don't think this one looks that great. However, when you sit Captain Rex in there right behind his little printed control panel, I do think it actually looks pretty cool, especially when you have his 2 guns pointing out like that. I think it looks pretty epic, not gonna lie, especially if you have some sort of display stand like this. I just think it looks cool. Now the final question is, would I recommend this set to you for $13? And of course I would. If you don't want to buy the Venator and really want a Captain Rex, go out and get this set. I mean, that's kind kind of a no-brainer. I think it's great that LEGO has made it available for everybody, although I am still standing on business, and I think it should have been different from the one in the Venator, just so the one in the Venator could have stayed exclusive. I'm feeling a pretty solid 9 out of 10 for this set. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.